Hello, Cincinnati, and welcome to another episode of our podcast. Today we have Randy Birdsong of HeadHunters and Joe Umphries of Big Tine on. These guys know about deer nutrition, and Randy especially knows about predator trapping. All this relates to the overall health of your herd and growing bigger whitetails, something we all love. So what do you say we get this thing started? All right, boys, thanks for joining us, Randy and Joe. We got a little, we're going to do a little reverse action here because Graham and Joe and I were on earlier. We had a little bit of a good 3-minute conversation, so we're going to have to flip that in the editing part of this process. But thanks for coming on today, fellas.
Hey, thanks for having us, man. Glad to be here.
I heard you had a good day today, Randy.
I did, man. I got out. I've been a little under the weather from NWTF. I think somebody done gave me the trade show funk down there, but I got to feel a little bit better today and got out for a couple hours and picked up 11 in just a couple hours, so I was pumped about that, man.
Heck yeah.
You're doing better than Joe.
What's that?
You're doing better than Joe then.
Poor Joe.
I must have had the lucky horseshoe today. I normally don't do that well, but I was pretty pumped up to find 11, and I know that we're on and talking about Big Time, but I got to say, and this is no joke, I swear on everything I got, I found all 11 in food plots today. Every single one of them was in food plots.
That's crazy.
So it just kind of goes to show, and I was thinking about it as I was, looking today and driving around, man, it really goes to show how important food sources is, all times of year, but especially in the late season, and you get looking for sheds. I mean, really, who's got the food left and who's got some food is going to have the most gold at the end of the rainbow for sure.
For sure. Have you been supplemental feeding on top of that as well, or?
I haven't here on our place here with the CWD regulations in this county. We can't. Now in the county over, we've got a lease over there, and I do feed over there, and we've picked up several sheds over there as well. But here on our home place in this county, we can't feed right now.
Yeah, so Zach lived out exactly what you just said last year. He went and shed hunted mine and Graham's farm and didn't find a lick, but we also didn't have any food. This year we've got the food plots and everything, and he found one in a food plot in January. We got a trail camera video of that thing's shed falling off.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then you got a video a couple days later of him pulling up to do something in the middle of the night, and then look, there's a shed.
That's so dang cool. I tell you, a lot of our bucks dropped super early here. I made one little stroll through. I think I got to looking back at my pictures, and heck, it was before our bow season ended. It was like January the 10th. We had a couple little cold snaps, and I found a couple really good sets that early there, and they were also in food plots, but some of them shed early, and then we had this, obviously across most of the Midwest, we had that giant storm couple weeks back, and I think that pretty much torched the rest of ours. So
that's right when ours fell off.
What's that?
Yeah, that's right when ours
around
fell
the time
off.
when ours fell off too.
Yeah.
I think he was a 3.5-year-old that was moving pretty good during the rut. He was worn down.
I had 20-30 minutes of B-roll of this deer.
Dang. Yeah, I'm ready to get out and get after him now. I've started putting some miles on now. I try to stay out as bad as it is, man. It's like, you're almost like a kid at Christmas wanting to go, but I really do think it's important to try to stay out as long as you can until you're almost certain that, the majority of them are down. And then once I figure that has happened, then I'll get after it. But you can really bump them around too and bump them to the neighbors if you ain't careful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Zach, we're going to change it up today. You don't know this, but how's your internet doing today? Good?
I don't know. It seems like it's okay for right now.
All right. Hey, Randy's your boy. You get to take the lead today, homie.
Oh boy, here we go. Trial by fire. Trial by fire. Where do you want to start, Randy? You want to start supplemental feeding? You want to start turkey hunting, trapping?
Shoot, I don't care. Spitball it. I'll just roll with it. It don't matter to me.
All right,
I love all of it.
We'll start with turkeys. I think that's on top of everybody's minds. I think, Clayton and I, Randy, you were there. Joe, we were all at NWTF. What do you guys got planned for this turkey season?
A lot, man. We normally we get after them pretty hot and heavy, which I say I do as much as I can, but I find myself in the springtime, I usually do 3 or 4 hunts, and then I'm on a tractor a lot where Hosey just beating the turkeys down every single day. But somebody's got to be out there planting the food plots, man. So
Yeah,
I find myself I got kind of a hybrid approach. I love to turkey hunt and I love to shoot turkeys in the face, but I've got deer on my mind 365 days of the year, so that keeps me pretty occupied too.
Yeah, we know who's getting the work done in that duo, unfortunately.
But no, we're gonna be after them. Between we'll do Oklahoma at our place down there, and then Missouri obviously here, and we usually go to Hosie's for a week or so in Pennsylvania, and then we usually always hit like Tennessee and a couple other states along the way. So we'll definitely be chasing them. I'm looking forward to it. It kind of always gives you something to look forward to and pull you out of the slump of winter.
All right, so let me ask you. I mean, I know what my answer would be, but if you guys had a preferred like food source, if you're going to plant one specifically for those guys that are diehard turkey hunters, Joe and Randy, what are you going with?
I would go with foundation clover. I mean, they love clover. They love to strut in clover, and spring too is one of those times where you first start maintaining the clover plots, and I like to go in and mow them down, get them looking nice, and it gives them some nice strutting areas for the spring. So we shoot quite a few over clover plots.
That's what I was going to say is clover.
If you've got an established plot, it's going to be the first thing that greens up. I mean, typically in Indiana for me, like we always start, late April where it's nice and short. We've got a 2.5 week season. It's usually getting pretty tall by the end of that season. It's that 2 week stint where you go from everything's bare to all of a sudden everything's green. So we have a really diverse in just a 2 week season in Indiana where you go from 0 to totally green. That's when it really starts popping. If you can get them in there when they still like strutting in it, when it's 2-3 inches tall, I'm gonna kill him in there.
They look pretty in them strutting around in them foundation clover plots.
They look real pretty.
Yeah.
Look, I will say this. I've done this before. I don't know if y'all are as crazy as me, but when that stuff gets to the taller side, like you're talking about, Joe, even if it's not clover, if it's like just overgrown field, I've gone in and literally basically mowed a 30-yard diameter crop circle around where I'm going to put the decoys. Buddy, let me tell you something. That's just as good as baiting them almost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they love that short grass.
I actually checked my my Onyx the other day, and they updated the map, and you can see where my blind is in my clover field, and there's a 30-yard diameter all the way around it where I had mowed it just because they like coming in there. I do the same thing.
Yeah, they love that short grass.
Well, and the advantage to turkey over deer is if you make a change like that on deer, sometimes they'll get a little skittish about it. Turkeys don't give a flying flip. They're like, oh, look at this, bro. Let's go check it out, man. Yeah, I don't care about that blind sitting there. This is cool.
Yeah, you can go in and slap a blind up the same morning, and the turkey's like, I mean, he has zero, given. He don't care.
Yep. So.
We got a little taste of that in your deer season at the beginning.
Huh? Oh yeah, dude. We had this beautiful clover field and this mid 140s acorn to it.
Yeah, beautiful acorn.
Every night. And the one dude mowed it like 2 weeks before season. Turned him off like a light switch. I was like, oh well.
And this was like right. We just got done in the postseason too. I was like, I'm about to go get back up there and go hunt after like 2 weeks of being home. We had this buck lined up. Cut it.
What did he mow?
Our clover. It got burned up when he mowed it.
Oh, I got you.
It didn't rain. That's a risky run mowing it like in August and September.
Yeah.
For all you folks out there, just because it doesn't look like the most perfect clover plot doesn't mean you should be mowing it, especially in August and September when there are potential for dry periods.
Yeah.
Well, you can almost
especially
guarantee
when your
that.
season's about to start.
Yeah, you can almost guarantee you're going to always find some dry weather in August. And my theory on the clover is it's always better to just leave it rather than scalp it. If you scalp it and you don't get the rain, it's toast.
Yep.
Yeah.
It seems like the last couple years we've had a lot of bad Septembers too.
Yeah.
What was it?
Well,
2
I think
years ago, Randy?
everybody gets. What's that?
Was that the Raven planting food plots and the clover was literally crunching when we walked on? And then you got rain 2 weeks later and it popped right back.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And like, I think we all get caught up in and I'm the same way. Like I want my plots to look immaculate.
Like a TV show?
Yeah.
Immaculate, because it makes me feel better. I'm like, man, I'm a dang deer farmer. You look at those plots and they look immaculate. You just beat yourself your chest. You feel good about yourself. But the fact of the matter is, the deer don't give a crap how much that what they look like. As long as there's what needs to be there in them, they're good. So always, yeah, you're exactly right. Talking about the clover, always kind of lean on the side of caution on that, especially when you get around those dry times of the year.
And frost seed it. Make your life easier, boys. If you can frost seed, man. Can you do that in Oklahoma?
As far as frost seeding?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still close enough to the Midwest and north enough that we get about pretty close to the same weather that we get here. It gets a little drier at times, but temperature-wise, it's pretty similar here. I don't plant a lot of clover down there just because of the soil type down there is a little tougher to grow clover and perennials in. So I kind of lean more towards the annuals down there and go that route. Except for couple places in the river bottom we get where it's a little bit better moisture down there more consistently.
Yeah.
I think anybody thinking about frost seeding this year, like here today, I think we were at like 68, and in the next couple days, our lows are going to be like 17. So we're going to get a pretty good freeze on that top layer. By the following weekend, we're going to be back up to 56, and when that all thaws out, it's just going to suck those seeds down in. So, like, to me, this weekend is the prime time to go out and frost seed if you can.
Oh
yeah,
well,
I agree. Because
Graham, Chief's going out. Graham and I got to rely on help being remote. So my dad's cousin's going out to frost seed for us like Monday or Tuesday.
Man, that must be nice having help doing that. That'd be awesome.
How do I sign up for that?
I never get to be there. So I'm gone from February till October. So.
Yeah, Joe's right though, man. It's like the perfect window right now because it's like when you get that big variation between your highs and your lows, and you get that good freeze at night, but then it warms up in the day, it literally just kind of keeps working and sucking that seed further and further down in. Every time it freeze thaws and that ground's contracting and expanding, it's just working those seeds in the ground, which is perfect.
I never thought about that, the discrepancy between the high and the low. The larger the gap, the more it sucks it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideally it's above freezing during the day, below freezing at night, and the process is called heaving. I mean, it's just like Randy just said, it just sucks it right in for you. You're done. And it's gonna be, and the seed will just sit there. It's not like it's gonna automatically germinate. Like you still have to get that soil temperature
right
to that right time. So
yeah.
I mean, you're done. Go back, drink a beer, and wait for it to get warm. You're over.
Yep. And I even going in a little bit further, I like to push it, which sometimes it can get you and bite you in the butt too, but I like to push it as long as I can right up to the end, just like right now. Like I wouldn't go a month ago and put it in the ground, even though you might have those variation in temperatures. Because myself, even as good a seed as like foundation clover is, I don't like to get a ton of moisture on and off of it leading up to having germination 3 months down the road, because it's, too much moisture on it's going to be a bad thing. But if you can push that as close as you can to when, like Joe was talking about, when that soil temperature comes up enough to where it's actually going to germinate that seed, and if you get a little bit of moisture here and there in between before that, as long as it's a shorter period of time, you're going to be fine. But you don't want to throw it out there 3 months, ahead of germination and then, rely on it to be good, because it don't matter, the best seed in the world, you're not gonna get the quality of germination that you would if you would wait until that sweet little window right there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something. As time goes on, everyone evolves, right? So with the age of podcasts and all this information out there as far as consistently getting on and harvesting mature deer, in the last, let's say, 3 to 7 years, have your guys' kind of thesis or theory on how you consistently do that, has it changed or evolved at all?
I think for me it has, and I was talking a little bit about this with Zach earlier. I used to think, And I used to my thesis revolved around, man, you got to have 1,000 acres in one block to kill a big deer, consistently. And my thesis on that's kind of changed over the years to where now I'm more leaning towards, I would almost rather have several smaller tracks spread out instead of one big track. And the reason being is because over the last 4 or 5 years, especially developing the Raven, I've really learned that what you can do habitat wise and food plot wise trumps pretty much everything else, including the size of the piece of ground. And what I mean by that is nowadays with people learning what they've learned on the habitat side, and with food plot seeds and food plots being as big of game changers as they are, you can take a lot smaller piece of ground and put the time and the energy into it. And it's bad to say, but you're going to suck your neighbor's deer off of their places and be able to kill them on a lot smaller place. And it's going to give you more than likely more populations of different bucks to chase rather than having them all on one particular place, because it's no different than what we have here on the Raven. It's a pretty good sized tract of ground, but we're hunting basically the same deer all the time. Whereas if I had that broke up into, say 10 100-acre parcels, I'd be chasing 10 different sets of bucks, and I'd be able to do on that 100 acres the same stuff and implement the same habitat, changes and food plot systems that I'm doing here on each one of those, and have a lot better chance of shooting a big one every single year consistently, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've definitely kind of changed over the years of where I'm at on that.
Well, I'd rather have I think Joe Miles used to say this. This is like 10 years ago. I think I heard him say this. I'd rather have the right 20 acres than the wrong 200 or 2,000, to the same point.
Yep. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, with what you can do, habitat management and food plots, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, man, people don't realize like how you can manipulate a deer to go where you want him to go if you have what he wants right there. And it don't take a lot of ground. Just like you said, you can do that on 20 acres. I know guys that shoot big deer on 20 or 40 acres every single year, but they have the right stuff there. It's like if you go down the street at a shopping mall, it's like, and one shop right there on the street has a brand new flashing sign. It's like your eyes automatically go there. And deer is the same way. Like, people don't realize, like, a deer is an absolute slave to his stomach 11 months out of the year outside of the rut. And we all know what gets them killed that other month. But outside of the rut, I mean, if you have the right habitat and you got the right food, they can be very, very, very killable, and it doesn't take a giant tract of ground to do that on.
Okay, so let's take that mindset. So for those of you that have larger pieces of land, let's take what he just said and let's put it like this. Instead of spreading yourself thin across 200 or 2,000 acres, concentrate on 10 or 20 acre blocks at a time to get them as good as you can one year, and then move to another 10 or 20 acres the next year, and then you've got spots to concentrate on. It's like, all right, I know they're going to get sucked to this part of the farm first. So if I was doing it, I'd pick a spot where it's like, okay, where am I going to have the most days this season with the right wind to be able to hunt it? All right, let's concentrate on that first. Then let's move to the next best spot and do that 10 or 20 acres.
Yeah, and I think too, and like, as we've set up and developed the Raven over the last 5 years, one of the things that I've tried to concentrate on is, which I put, and Joe will attest to this, like I put a lot of time into thinking and strategizing very deeply, not just like, oh, hey, where am I going to hunt tomorrow? Like, I'm thinking, a year, 2 years down the road, if I've got a particular deer and I find a shed off of a up and coming 3-year-old today, I'm thinking about where I'm going to kill that deer 2 years from now. You know what I mean? And one of the things of how I kind of look at things here is we do have a pretty good sized piece of ground, so we're able to do a lot of different things. And one thing that I like is just like using Big Tine, is I won't put a ton of different varieties or the same variety in a ton of plots in the same area. So one thing that I do is I'll split the farm up as far as like I'll have foundation clover in a few plots. I'll have maybe, peas and tubers in a few plots. I'll have, whatever it might be, Oktoberfest coming out this year. I'll be planting a lot of that too. But what I mean by that is I want my deer, I want to know where they're going to hit, what plots they're going to hit at different times of the year. And I don't want to have a deer that I'm hunting having the same option in several different places to where I'm dividing up, my pie so small that I have a small percentage chance of catching that deer where I want him, when I want him, if that makes sense. Yep. So I'm gonna try to target them at different areas of the farm between early season clover, mid-season blends, and then maybe, like a brassica, like a turnip blend towards the end, like the new Advantage turnips, so I can pretty much know what part of the farm that deer is going to be on. If I don't get him killed super early, he's going to be maybe on a main event plot mid-season on a highly radish, main events super high in radishes. I love radishes, October, November. If I don't get him killed there, well, maybe he's going to be on an Advantage turnip plot in December, January. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how my wheels spin all the time, as far as giving what I feel like myself the best chance I can at a particular deer.
Yeah, I think, when I sit down with Randy to talk about the strategy, that comes more into play anymore, is if I don't kill him here, where is he going to move to next? How can we, or even sucking him farther into the farm so he's more concentrated too. But yeah, all of our conversation goes to that, on how do we keep him in here? How do we move him in? And let's progress with the food chain as we go too.
Yeah, and then as you were talking, like you were saying that you were asking about developing different parts of the farm if you had a larger tract or whatever, and that's the importance of diversification in your food sources, because you don't want to plant, if you've got 5 food plots to work with, you don't want to plant them all in foundation clover, because what's going to happen is they're going to pound that early season, and then they're going to go find a food source that more aligns with what they need at that time of the year. So diversification is huge, and then also not stacking a ton of those same food sources together in an area where you know that you're going to be targeting a particular deer, because then you're going to put him where you want him, when you want him, and then he's only going to have 1 or 2 options, and so your odds go way up at that point.
You kind of just answered my question right there, because I was about to ask, do you feel like a lot of people kind of shoot themselves in the foot if they go out and say it's a 100-acre piece of property and they got 10-acre, 15-acre tillable? If they go in, would it be better to divvy that up, put in green screens, and separate those food plots completely and have like one in like clover, the other one in turnips? Or, because I've seen it to where people, like we did that this past year, and I've seen it to where people go and it's just like a mixture of everything put in together.
Yeah, Joe, I don't want to cut you off. You answer and then I'll go.
No, I like, as far as diversity like that, like personally, if I have 1 acre to work with, I can guarantee you I'm not doing a 1 acre plot of just main event. Like, if I'm going to centralize, if I'm in a blind or a stand, I'm going to put that, I'm going to look at the wind and see my best opportunity for wind. I'm going to divide that food plot. One side might be main event, might be Oktoberfest. The other side will be foundation, because that gives you 2 things. One, diversification on the food source, because you can actually watch them go back and forth down that line, and going from the clover, eating clover, then hopping over to the brassicas to hit the greens or the bulbs depending on the year, and they just work that line. 2, deer love a fringe, even if it's a 2-inch difference. They like walking that every time. So that, with the diversity on that, even in a 1 acre plot, 2 acre plot, I'm going to divide it up from 1,000 acres to 30 acres, whatever you're working with, like have that change up.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like Joe said, it don't matter if you're dealing with 1 acre or 100 acres of food plots. I have the same mindset no matter how large of acreage I have to work with. And really, I think that, if you really simplify it down, a lot of guys, I think, overthink it. But really what it boils down to is, in my head, or how I go about thinking about it, is I think, how can I hold that buck that I want to kill how can I get him to spend as much time as I possibly can on my tract of ground, no matter if it's 20 acres or 2,000 acres? How can I keep him there the longest? Because I know that in my head, I'm thinking the longer I have him there and the more hours I put my butt in a tree stand, eventually, if he stays there and he's on his feet, I'm going to kill him. So I don't want him to be there and have to rely on him only being there, you know, a 5 or 10 day period, and then he's off on the neighbors the other 355 days of the year. I want to give him, even if he's not living there, and that goes back to the smaller tracts of ground that we were talking about. That's the importance of habitat management and food plot management, is even if it's 20 acres, if you have what he wants, he's coming there. He don't have to live there to kill him. He just needs to come there and stay there long enough for you to get an arrow in him. And I think when you break it down and simplify it like that, it really kind of, you know, clicks and makes things make sense, you know, better for you.
All right, let me ask you this. Let's take. All right, we got the last week of October. You got a clover plot over here, and you got brassicas over here. Have you found that if it's a cooler day, they're on the brassicas, but if it's a warmer day, even if it's unseasonably warm, they are on the clover?
I think it depends on what kind of brassicas. Like you know, if you're on a radish blend, I think late October, you know, you hunt over a plot like Main Event that's got a lot of radishes in it. It's dynamite late October. I would pick that over anything else. In my opinion, and not to say, you know, there's always going to be those one-off cases, right? But if we're going percentage wise, I would hunt like our season opens September 15th here in Missouri. From September the 15th to October the 10th to 15th, I'm going to be spending more time on foundation clover than anything else. From the 10th to 15th of October to the 15th of November, I'm going to transition into like a mid-season brassica, like a radish, you know, like and a Main Event plot. And then if we're talking postseason, you know, post-rifle season, you get December, you get the colder weather, you get some hard frost, you know, on those turnips. I'm going to be hunting like an advantage turnip plot. So I really break it down into kind of seasonal, and that's kind of the transition that I see is from the first month kind of clover, mid is more like a Main Event radish, and then you go into like an advantage turnip, like a late season brassica blend.
Yeah.
And you're giving me a really good segue to talk about Oktoberfest, Randy.
Yeah, and I'm pumped up
right in
about
my
that
hand,
one.
dude. So yeah, the Oktoberfest that we came out with, like literally, Clayton, that's designed for that October hunt. When you're going to go after that buck, you feel like you're, you know, maybe you got history with him, you got him all of October, and then he disappears, which happens a lot. When you're going after that buck that first month, that's what we designed the Oktoberfest for and gave it a badass name like Oktoberfest. But it's got the spring peas in it. We haven't even talked about peas. They demolish peas early on. It's got buckwheat, so buckwheat's going to die out after your first frost pretty much, but they just completely mow it in early season. It pops up quick, puts nitrogen in the ground for you. So if you're thinking ahead about frost seeding the next year, you've already got nitrogen going in the ground. There's barley in there. We tested for 3 years here, and originally we had wheat in it, but we switched it over to barley. It's just a kind of a change up. Still a cereal grain that's going to leave you greens later on. But then it's got the radishes in there too. Because I'm with Randy. I love hunting a radish field in October, man. Late October,
Yeah.
radishes, you can't. It's going to be the first brassica that they demolish. They'll hit the greens on top, but as far as pulling them out of the ground, that's what you're going to see them pulling out of the ground.
I don't hardly ever talk enough about peas too, because the fact that I plant them and they smoke them down so much, I usually after 2 weeks I don't have anything to talk or hunt over. So, but when you combine, that's why I'm so pumped, man, about the Oktoberfest, is because if you combine peas and radishes, like I don't feel like there's a better combination, like you said, for the guys that start October the 1st, for those first 2 to 3 weeks of season, man, it's going to be ugly. I'm already driving around picking out spots where I'm putting that
Oh yeah.
for the fall. So I'm pumped.
And you guys know how October is. Like, if you want to hunt a specific deer, you might as well dang near forget about being able to do anything related to a pattern in November. Like the month of October is about the last month you got until you get past the rut.
Man, no doubt. Like up to the 20th or 25th of October is my favorite time to hunt. You know, I crack up all the time, which I love to hunt the rut too, because it like if you're in it, you know how you guys have been there. If you're in it, there's nothing better.
Yep.
But I tell everybody, like the rut to me is like can be the most frustrating time of the year. Like I feel like more days than not I'm beating my head against the tree, because it's like, man, I know I'm where I need to be, but he's not here. Well, he don't know where he wants to be that time of year. You know what I mean? Like it's so luck of the draw that time of year. I mean, you can be a hero or a zero on any given day, and there's more big deer probably killed in the rut than any other time, because that's when everybody wants to hunt. But for me, man, I prefer to hunt right up to the rut and then late season, because for me, if I'm going to really dial in a deer, I just feel like I can get him dialed in whenever, like I said, whenever he lives and dies by his stomach. And deer do. I mean, they live and die by their stomach, other than that short little window that we call the rut. And then they live and die by something else. But the other times of the year, to me, is when they're the most killable. And especially if I'm trying to target a specific deer.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that, the flip side even further, and this gets me all the time, is I'll have a deer too that I might have that I'm targeting, and I don't get him shot by the rut, and then all of a sudden I've wasted all that time from the beginning of the season all the way up to the rut, and now he's 3 miles over on the neighbor. You know what I mean? Like you lose so many deer that time of year that you may have invested so much time into that earlier part. And then all of a sudden, they're here one day and completely gone the next, and you're completely out of the game. And that gets frustrating too with the rut. Now, on the flip side of that, you might get your neighbor's deer too. I've done that, but tough time of the year, in my opinion, to hunt.
And the neighbor's deer can be bigger
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly.
We had one happen this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, so we touched on kind of the food plot aspect, and we've talked, about bigger farms versus smaller farms. What are some things like true habitat management wise, you feel like guys can do and that pay really big dividends, whether that's, hinge cutting? I know there's a lot of, back and forth. Some guys love it. Some guys hate it. Prescribed burn, things like that. What is really paid dividends for you guys?
I think in my opinion, and I've kind of done this on the Raven too, even though it's a larger tract of ground, I've kind of segmented it out into different kind of zones, and I'll go in and do that. Just like if I'm on a bigger tract of ground, even though I'm treating it like it's a 40-acre parcel basically. So every 40 acres, I've got a food source, I've got a water source, and then I'm also doing some kind of habitat management on there. And one thing that I found by setting this place up that's worked the best for me, and that I feel like, in my opinion, has really helped us on our success, is going in and creating these micro bedding areas close to the food sources. This area that I'm in right here is one of the toughest areas in the country as far as pressure goes. Like there's a ton of pressure. We get a ton of pressure around 360 degrees around us. And a prime example of this is this year I shot a deer that was the oldest deer on the farm. We've had him ever since we owned this place. 5 years ago, I started getting pictures of him. I killed him an hour and a half before dark on an 81-degree day in rifle season. And I think, now, there's always a lot of luck that goes into everything, right? But on this particular spot, I had a main event plot with a water hole right there, and I had went in on the upwind side of this food plot. There was a small little, east and south facing ridge, and I went in there and I put about a 3/4 acre hinge cut in there and made like a little micro bedding area in there. And it was just enough to where I could hold him that close, and I had good access into the blind, into the plot. And then he showed up on that plot on an 81-degree day, the oldest deer on the farm. And in this part of the country, in any part of the country, I feel like that just, it shouldn't happen like that. But I do contribute a lot of that to being able to go in there and put that deer a little home close enough to where all he has to do is get up on his feet, and he's got 150 yards to a great food source. He's got a water hole there. He's got everything he needs right there in that little core area. And I've tried to do that on every kind of parcel of this place. Is I treat it like each individual kind of unit of the place. And I try to go in there and think about every single thing that they need to hold those deer there. And I'm trying to put them and bed them as close as I can to the food source with still being able to get good access, get good wind, and get in and out of there without bumping them when I'm coming in. But have them close enough to where I'm seeing that good daylight movement consistently, even when the conditions aren't perfect.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. We've talked about the habitat improvement and the food plots and basically hunting season, for lack of a better way to generalize it. What kind of a role do you think supplemental feeding in states that it's allowed truly plays in growing the biggest deer possible? I mean, like, what percentage of their antler growth do you think it helps add overall? What would you use supplemental feed-wise, or what has your best experience been with?
Man, I think it's huge where you can do it, because it goes well beyond what you're going to see that year. And what I mean by that is in areas where we can long-term supplemental feed, you're really going to see the effects 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And it's not just with your bucks; it goes well beyond that. Like your doe health is huge, and her being healthy, dropping healthy fawns, just give them such a boost right out of the gate that we've seen that make a huge improvement in antler size down the road. Like I said, 3, 4, 5 years, when that buck gets old enough, he's got everything he's needed ever since day one, even before day one.
Hey,
so
hold on a sec.
Then
there you go.
What's that?
All right, your video cut because I'm guessing someone called you.
No, I think my battery is getting low there. Do you want me to start back on that?
Where was he at? Yeah,
just doe health. Just doe health and fawn health.
Pick it up at doe health.
Yeah, I like I was saying, I think, in my opinion, the doe health plays such a huge role in your overall size and quality of your bucks, because those does being healthy and dropping healthy fawns just give that buck a good start on his life. And ones that don't have that kind of have an uphill battle, it seems like, their entire life to be able to maximize what they're going to have, on their head. So everybody thinks about supplemental feeding in bucks, which it obviously does help, but it goes well beyond that. And then also, if you are talking about bucks and supplemental feeding, man, the rut takes such a toll on bucks. It's crazy of how bad a shape they can come out of the rut. And especially if you're in a state where they have decently bad winters, them suckers can be in such a hole when it comes time to start growing that next set of horns, that they're, like I said before, I mean, it's an uphill battle that whole year. So you're only going to see 60-70% of what they actually could be. So I think that that's a huge role too that supplemental feeding plays. We feed a lot of the fortified feed. That's kind of our go-to, which it's not super. It's about 15% protein, I think. Isn't that right, Joe, on the fortified?
Yeah, the fortified's going to be around 9%, but then
9%.
Protein plus is platinum,
and then the platinum is even more than that. So we feed a lot of the fortified, like in Oklahoma, earlier part of the year, and then we'll transition later part into the protein plus and the platinum, which is going to bump them up to like 15 to 17%.
Yep.
Which, like I said, though, everybody in my opinion thinks supplemental feeding, they're thinking bucks, but really it goes well beyond that, on even into the doe herd health too.
Yeah, and to that point, right now is the most absolute crucial time to be supplemental feeding. So your bucks are worn down. Yeah, I mean, I want to be feeding them the day after season's out, the feeders are getting filled. And because I want to build, because he's not, even before he drops that rack, he's not going to start growing new antlers until he rebuilds his skeletal structure from that previous season. So the faster you can get him back up to his fighting weight, the faster he's going to start growing and the more nutrients you're getting in there. On top of that, you've got all these pregnant does that there's nothing to eat out there right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we're to a point now, combines are picking a whole lot of that grain out. There's not a whole lot of corn for
Yeah.
it to eat.
They're pretty efficient.
I mean, I had a guy up from Alabama the last couple days, and we were driving around. He's like, dude, what are they eating right now? And I'm like, big time's what they're eating right now, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
there's
feel like
not a
this
whole lot
time. I
left.
feel like this time of year too. I think the Protein Plus would be my go-to. You know, if you're talking about from like December, the colder months, so December all the way up until the first part of spring. That Protein Plus has got roasted soybeans in it, and like we were talking about, it's got 15-16% protein in it. So they're getting the protein, they're getting the carbohydrates, they're getting everything they need in there to keep them warm and to add that fat and to get them, get the weight put back on them, the does and the bucks. So if I had to go, one all around food source this time of year for supplemental, it would be the Protein Plus.
Well, not only that, Joe, you know this better than anybody. You're in Indiana. Look at the last 2 winters we had. We had a 3 or 4 week stretch where it didn't get above freezing with at least 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever was in your food plots to eat, they got to go digging for it. Well, if you got feeders and supplemental feed out, it's a lot easier. They know exactly what spot to go to get a bite to eat and keep warm.
Man, we've got a 7-acre piece right here next to our park. We literally call it the parking lot plot. That's where we do all of our testing and everything. There's nothing left out there. I mean, it's gone. There's
Bare.
not one antler out there either because I check it every day. But I mean, it's just stripped, man.
Yeah. It's
think-
the same way here. We can't plant enough food on the Raven. That's what makes the shed so easy to find. I was cruising around today and like, man, they've been, as much as they've been hammering the food sources, they got them eat down to what they're about that tall. So those antlers, they stick out pretty good, like sore thumbs out there.
That's what we were talking about before you jumped on, Randy. Like, I love, we got 11 inches of snow here. Everything's beat down. Now is the prime time to find antlers from it. Because they're just sticking out there.
Prime time to find antlers and also do some scouting for next year too. Because man, everything is laid out like a road map right now. It's the ground's wet and trails are beat down, and I love to get out this time of year and get some exercise, find some horns. But I've always got my phone with me dropping pins for thinking about next year and the year after and the year after that. You can learn, man, you can learn so much this time of year.
Well, and I imagine with the heavier snowfall, they're not just going to weave around the woods like they normally would. They're going to choose that most preferred path. So they're going to show you exactly where that highway is going to be at next fall, or the path that most deer are going to use when they're not just meandering about. They
definitely conserving all the calories that they can this time of year when it's cold.
Yeah. All right. I do have one more habitat question for you because I know it's like one of your favorite things to do, trapping.
Oh man, Joe too, man. Joe's got the bug too. He loves to set some steel too.
Well, let's hear it, boys.
Yeah. Give us the tips.
To be honest with you, I would love to do a lot more than I get to do anymore. It seems like I'm so busy anymore. Between Missouri and Oklahoma, I'm never in one spot long enough to run a line like I used to. Man, I used to get after it. I used to take about 30 days, and I'd run about 200 predator sets a day. I was about as hardcore as you could possibly get. I've toned it down now. I tell everybody I'm getting old and washed up. And I got a bad back, so now I go to Oklahoma for about 5 or 6 days where it's nice and sandy down there and easy to trap, and I scratch the itch a little bit and call it good.
What kind of traps do you typically use more of, like the pawl traps or just the?
Yeah, all leg holds. I've never done a ton of snaring. Pretty much do all of my stuff with leg holds, unless we're beaver trapping or otter trapping. Then I'm running some killer traps, but conibears.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, my go-to is either like an MB 550 and I've been running the new Duke 650s this year a lot, so I like them.
That's pretty much for coyotes at our farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't set a single trap this year. It was pretty depressing.
Man.
That I missed out on the first ever Indiana bobcat season. Just because, they open it up in deer season, and everywhere that I had cats on camera, I also had deer. So I didn't want to go in there and burn out my deer to catch a bobcat.
Yeah.
And the latter part of 2025, I was so busy in here that if I can't run a line for 2 weeks and let them soak, I'm probably not going to put them out. Like, it's a lot of work to put out for 4 days.
It is a lot. It is a lot of work.
But we're in the midst of the skunk rut in Indiana right now, so we're popping off some skunks running through the fields.
There
I'm
you
having
go.
a good time.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you guys have for guys that have never really trapped, but they want to start trying to get those nest predators for turkeys and the fawn killers like the coyotes?
Man, nest predators are pretty easy. They make it pretty easy anymore with all the dog-proof traps and stuff like that. Like down in Oklahoma where we're running feeders, I'll cable off a dog-proof on each corner of a feeder and just wear the dang coons out like that. And usually if I've got a 3 or 4 day period, I'll leave my traps cabled off, and then every time I'm leaving, I'll set them off or whatever. But then when I go back, they're already cabled there. I'll reset everything, and just 5-6 times a year I'll hit them hard whenever I'm there for 3 or 4 days, because that's the cool thing about the coons and the nest predators is you really don't need a super long period of time like you do like a coyote line. Like for coyotes, it's a little bit more of a challenging game and a timing thing. Coyotes are a lot of times they're running long running features like rivers or waterways, stuff like that. They might not come through but every 4 or 5, 6 days. So if you have a line out for a couple weeks, a coyote line, you might only get a couple good cracks in that 2-week period, to where those coons and those nest predators, man, they're on a beeline to wherever they're getting their bellies full every night.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest things that we get is basically all the nest raiders love Big Tine too. And I'll have people email me or complain about, oh, the coons are, well, you need to kill the coons. Like, I can't, they're gonna come to it. You got to kill them. I've actually talked to my DNR officers, like, you guys, this is a problem. I got 30 of them at my feeder at night. Like, I'm just letting them know I'm gonna start trapping them. And man, I was putting marshmallows in there and everything, and they wouldn't touch it. So I had to end up actually putting Big Tine in the traps, and they're just reaching in there. And I mean, we get 80 to 100 coons a year off my 30-acre piece.
And man, if you think about that too, for the average guy that's going to Rural King or going wherever and buying their Big Tine, it can get pretty expensive too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of the nest predators, if you're trying to feed your deer and you're feeding 30 coons a night, it adds up after a while. So kill them jokers down and save yourself some money and a lot of turkeys.
There's always the one that figures out how to climb up onto the feeder and brush it out for the rest of his buddies. You 100% kill that guy first. I promise you that.
He's the first to go.
Yeah, those jokers will smooth wipe you out of feed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll do it in September even when it's warm.
And I tell you,
Talking
ATA
about
is making it interesting with all those thermal bow sights that they're coming out with for talking about predator hunting. Go out there and have that thing strapped on there. Go shoot a couple coyotes, a couple coons at a corn pile.
I'm kind of, I don't know, man. I'm 6 one way and half dozen the other on the thermal thing. I'm afraid that's going to unleash a lot of rednecks that's just dying to use them in a way that they don't need to be.
You're putting them on bows and crossbows now. You want to talk about a side of the game that's getting opened for not a very good way.
There's going to be a whole lot more big buck killers come out of the closet than what we knew that there was here in the next year or two.
Yeah.
I can promise you.
Yeah, they're going to come out of the closet until they get put in the slammer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, if they're doing that, they need to.
Yeah. Same with the guys using the drones and. Oh man,
it's like that guy that shot that big one up in Ohio last year, and now he paid his bell and he's getting a replica of it, put it in his house.
The penalties are never enough, man. Like every single case you hear, the penalties are just never enough.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, it's bad. Have you noticed any out of the states you hunt? Have you noticed any states that the poacher problem is worse than others?
Man, I mean,
I know it's everywhere,
bad.
but
It's pretty bad right here where I'm at. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I deal with the rednecks like crazy around here from time to time, and they get after them pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. But I think everybody has their own problems, and I think that the more rural it is, usually is the worst for it. It seems like if you're way out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, they feel like they are the law.
Yeah. Well, that in the lower income counties and lower income areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a high school that I would go play baseball at, and they had a giant buck out in the front of the school. They had to move this statue to the back of the school because people were shooting at it from the road.
Oh my God.
God.
And I'm not talking about just like, I'm not talking about, it was a buck. And I don't mean like it was just like a normal sized buck with just giant antlers. No, this was like a 30-foot statue of a buck. And people are shooting at this thing as they're driving
Just
by.
sighting it in, man.
Yeah.
Just sighting their deer rifles in.
They don't make you Alabama folk too smart, do they?
Yeah. Welcome.
No, I think everybody's got them, man. As much as I hate to admit it, I think everybody's got them and deals with them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So what's Hosey's deal in all this? You do the work, he shows up and kills?
Man, I tell you what,
He's the pretty. I told you, he's the
I've
pretty
always-
face.
I've always said that they only made one of those jobs in the hunting industry, and somehow he got it. I think he's got the one and only of those jobs. But no, I don't know. We kind of compliment each other, I guess, in different stuff. He loves to get out and see the people and play music and shake the hands, and I love to be here on the farm and grow deer. That's I don't know. I get a lot of enjoyment out of working these places and trying to make them as good as I can. But no, he usually does come in and he slips in and shoots a good one or two every year. It seems like he
I
always
will
seems to
say,
find them.
there was a bunch of buck brunch that went to Hosey last year in Pennsylvania because it's the no-till, and it literally says on there, no sweat, no problem. And he said, that's right up my alley.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
That's
Some
perfect.
nice food plots last year.
Yeah. Yeah, he has started picking up his game a little bit in Pennsylvania. He's got a couple leases up there now, and he's kind of gotten into the food plot game a little bit, and I think he does. I think he does like it a little bit. He's got his two little boys, and he's got them into hunting now, and they're starting to kill the heck out of deer and turkey. So he's pretty pumped about that for sure.
Dude, you know what? I just remembered this. You probably don't remember. Like 12 or 13 years ago, you used to hunt at South Fork.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I met you there because I was
Okay.
hunting at someone's farm right up the road, and I had shot a buck, and we thought that we had it on trail camera on the video mode as he was working a scrape when I shot him. And so we went into the office there to pop the card into the computer to see if it was on there, and you and Nate were in there. Of course, that's like when I'm right out of college, you're like, yeah, man, I want to have my own TV show. I'm going to film my hunts. And then I figured out, why would I do that? I could just, be the guy that gets paid to shoot and edit them. That's a much smarter move.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that's way better. That's a way better route to go there.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, I think
Golly.
I do remember that. Yeah,
You guys
back in
still hunt
South Fork.
Illinois at all? Or no?
I haven't done much over there the last few years. Scuba, our main producer, he goes over there every year and usually does a muzzleloader hunt. I'd like to get back over there at some point, though. It seems like Illinois has really come back the last few years. They're
Yeah.
shooting some giants over there now.
Well, I filmed that 200 with Jeff Lindsay last year. What about 2024? When I say last year, let me clarify. 2024 on his Pike County place.
Okay. Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a giant.
Man, that Illinois deer population got hammered so hard.
Oh, yeah.
For quite a few years, and like you said, now it's gotta come back.
Yeah, it's sad to see that happen like that, but I'm pretty pumped that it is coming back. That's kind of where I cut my teeth, was in Southern Illinois whenever I first started filming over there. And back in those days, man, I tell everybody from like 2000 to 2010 was absolutely insane. And then from about 2010 to 2020, that decade, it kind of went the exact opposite way. But it is starting to come back now, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back over there and seeing what it used to be.
Yeah, well, Graham should have known better than to open his mouth and text me and say, lucky I didn't drop. I was still in high school in 2012.
That's cute.
He's still wet behind the ears.
Yeah. You know that, Randy, you talking about that kind of brings up something interesting. You know, you've been involved in the hunting industry for a while. How do you feel like you've seen it change, and where do you think it's, you know, there's a lot of talk these days about, you know, the health of it and where it's at. Like, where do you think things are at right now?
Well, and at the same time, Joe, on your end, from a brand's perspective, I'd be interested to hear that too.
Yeah.
I guess from, you know, I have seen it all across the board from when I started, obviously, like, back in those days, it was, I mean, heck, when I first started, it was more DVD and VHS tapes than anything. And then that progressed into the kind of, you saw kind of the boom of the TV era. You know, I got my start with Whitetail Freaks is where and how I started. And that was when I was going to college, and I kind of, you know, I made a lot of relationships through them, and I always kind of wanted to have, you know, something of my own. And whenever I got out of college, I kind of was at that crossroads. So was when I launched myself and kind of our own project with HeadHunters and with Nate and everybody. And I've seen then that progressed into, you know, the digital side, the social media side. And I think, you know, in my opinion, I really think it's a weird time we're living in. You know, I mean, you see all the AI stuff, and I've had these discussions with people, you know, too, and everything on social media now, there's so much AI driven stuff on there, and it's got to the point now to where it's like, it's hard to determine the legitimacy of anything anymore with AI, because it's like all of a sudden it gets really muddy there of what's legit and what's not, right? So in my opinion, I really think that we will see, and most things in life does this, but I think that it'll be a little bit of a cyclical rotation back to, I don't know if it'll be in what exact form, but I think it's going to be something that AI can't touch, because there's still going to be the need to have legit influencers. And I say influencers lightly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're going to need good ambassadors that are legit, and that you can determine who is who and who is not, and who is real and who is not. Because I think that the way things are going, it leaves it wide open for there to be it's really a lot of confusion from a consumer of where they need to focus, what they need to buy, what they need to do, because all of a sudden the water has got so muddy, like I said, on what's legit and what's not. So I think that we'll see a little bit of a full rotation back into something to where that water gets cleaner again, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like this podcast, for example, last year was the first full year, and we did like 15 million views combined across social media platforms in the first year, right? Well, I think part of that is because we didn't try to do any social media gimmicks or tricks. Literally what we're posting online are clips straight out of these podcast episodes, so it's an authentic, real voice. It's not AI. It's not some trick or gimmick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that what you're saying could be part of
that.
Legitimacy
is always going to win, right, at the end of the day, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. And you don't have to be in the hunting industry. You don't have to be on TV. You don't have to do podcasts. You can only fake it, you know, for so long before that gets called out. Like the legit guys that actually love it and live it are always going to rise to the top. And it doesn't, like I said, you don't have to be doing what I do, what you guys do, what Joe does, anybody else. I mean, generally speaking, that's always going to rise to the top, because people want to work and they want to be around, and they want to put their efforts and their time in the people that they actually feel like are good people and legit people. I mean, that's you know, that's human nature.
Yeah.
So I think it's.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything else.
I think, like, when I started at Big Tine in 2015, like, you know, we had a good establishment, but I mean, we didn't have any social media. We didn't even have a website at that time. So we worked hard. We built a phenomenal team. Randy, you guys came on super early when I was here. Mm-hmm. And I think we met at ATA like 2016 or 17, and we've been together ever since. But put together a super team. And I've always lived by that motto of, once you make it about you and not about the brand or whatever, whether it's a podcast or the television show, that's when you lose that validity. And I think this new age is all about the person or themselves or how many freaking likes they got rather than the core. And I mean, there's brands. I mean, you know, whether it's a supplemental feed brand or you name the brand, there's a lot of them like that too. But it seemed like we're in a me mentality right now, and we need to get back to that core roots. There's a lot of people coming and going, but the OGs are still there, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the term I like to use for it is they're like the showcase kid.
Yeah,
They're great when they're told this is what they had to do, but they can't perform it when it comes down to having to actually do it.
Yeah.
and AI is the downfall of humanity. I hate it.
I think so too.
We
I
got
think so,
3
too.
years before the Terminators come, so
It's scary. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. I don't know. Maybe I got my tinfoil hat on, but I'm worried about it.
Yeah.
I can tell you what though, boys, my teepee's gonna be full of deer meat, so y'all just come on down. I'll still be
Yeah.
doing the same thing I'm doing now.
you better save some of them pork chops.
That's right. That's right.
So, Joe, from a brand's perspective, do you see, from where I sit looking at brands, I think some brands like are trying. It's constantly a process of figuring out how to harness the marketing value in social media because it changes constantly. Am I
It
correct in
changes
saying
by
that?
the week, man.
Yeah.
Like it literally changes by the week. I mean, we do our best to follow the trends. Like we've always been, we want to be, when it comes to social media, we want to be educational, but at the same time, entertaining. Like not over the top entertaining with what you're seeing with some of the AI stuff now that's just straight up stupid. But have fun with it. But I mean, it's tough. I mean, where's the happy median and maintaining the brand, like staying on top and staying relevant without just spewing stuff out there. I mean, like you gotta be up there, but you can't just be putting stuff out to put stuff out either.
Yeah. I think it's the same way in our business too. Like what we were talking about a while ago, how things have changed. But I think for us, we try to put out legit content, but I think it's a matter of where we're putting it out and diversifying that. And that's kind of what we've worked on the last few years, with the Raven project coming out as a digital project, and then still obviously having HeadHunters, and then what we're doing on social media, and then also putting a couple guys on for content creation. So whenever we go to a manufacturer or a partner, just like Joe, instead of saying, hey, we're siloed in TV or we're siloed over here in content creation, we can put together, a package to where we can take marketing dollars and spread it across several different avenues and touch on a little bit of everything to where we're diversified enough that we can, make sure that we're hitting on all genres and in all places.
Well, it's two different
And that's the
demographics.
key. That's the key right there. The evolution of maintaining network television and the digital side of it, because
Yeah. The days
a lot
of just
people aren't
TV
even
is
doing network anymore, or a lot of people aren't watching. Like you still got. I'm 44. I do more network television than digital, but you got to have everything.
that's
Well,
right.
I mean, especially like I'm being a part of the younger generation. I mean, I'm around guys that vary. I mean, I'm around some guys that are 19 years old playing baseball, and I'm around guys that are 35. Like, I can tell you one thing that's common between everybody in that 20-year gap, 15-year gap, everybody uses YouTube. Like, that's the thing right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
What scares me about YouTube is they could pull the plug on blood sports whenever they want.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
they're so
like-
strict on that stuff.
Yeah, I gave up on TikTok. I mean, I can only show so many videos of pouring out some feed on TikTok, and then it gets old. Like, I need to show some kills, and can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the tough part about putting a lot of eggs into something that, obviously, hate to say it, but it's the truth. I mean, liberals control, because they pull the strings, and if they pull the right one at the wrong time, and that's where you've got all your eggs at, it's a bad deal.
All it takes is one big name to say you're trash, and then everybody else follows suit.
Yeah.
Definitely think it's a strong platform for sure, but it's a scary one, like Joe said, at the same time.
Yeah. Well, like anything else, I mean, there's good eggs and bad eggs in every industry, and the bad eggs exacerbate what people don't like about this industry, right? The few bad eggs make it look way worse than it actually is. So the people that don't like it, they're gonna hone in on that, and they're gonna try to take you down with everything they got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no different than baseball, football,
everything,
dude.
Everything works like that.
What's so crazy though is they don't know if we didn't do what we did, that it would be terrible with the amount of population that would be throughout the whole U.S. of all the animals. I mean, it'd be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, hunters play such a huge role in everyday life, you know, and they don't have a clue because they don't want to have a clue.
Yeah,
you know,
they don't know how many meals it puts on tables and all that. I mean, however many. I mean, y'all go through and y'all kill a lot of deer each year. I'm sure y'all aren't taking every pound of that deer home with you. I'm sure you're probably donating it whenever you have enough at the house. Like, you're not just going to go keep filling the freezer up.
Yeah, we try to do as much good with it as what we possibly can.
Well, and at the end of the day, if we don't keep the population in check, Mother Nature's going to do it through things like EHD. And then you're going to have dead, rotting bodies everywhere, and that went to waste.
Massive kill-offs.
And if it's not that, it's going to be your car's gone.
Yeah,
especially in November.
Hey, fellas, can we hold for just a split second while I can go get this battery pack to put on my phone before it dies?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be 10 seconds.
1, 2,
Cut him off.
4.
Poor guy.
I'm in no rush to get home. It is pouring here right now.
Wow, that's pretty close to 10.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit.
That was quick.
Randy was running as fast as he possibly could.
He thought there was more sheds by that Charger.
Yeah.
He was pouring more Tito's in that cup over there.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny when Clayton said that thing about it being November, because I told my dad this year, it was his first time coming up. Well, he came with me last year, but it was in December. I told him we went up in October. I was like, you notice we only passed like 2 dead deer on this entire drive? He's like, yep. I said, wait till you have to make this drive back up next year, or right a couple weeks from now when it's the beginning of November.
Well, dude, when
He got in that car and he's like, you were freaking kidding, man.
I'm on the road a lot, and like being right on I-70, we're right on the Indiana-Illinois line. I'm on I-70 constantly, and I dread driving on I-70 in November because Illinois, Missouri is just lined with deer everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always. It's always funny when you can always tell when the rut's hitting. You know, you see the old trucks pulling over, picking up deer bodies like crazy. You know, like, okay, it's on right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. I always wanted to hunt Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a sick state. I don't know why. I have an affinity
I love
for
Oklahoma. You can feed all year, which I love. Like, I love it down there. Over-the-counter tags, you can kill 2 bucks a year. Weather's usually
Fish
pretty
in the
nice.
morning, kill deer in the evening. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Meanwhile,
duck hunting's pretty good out there too, isn't it?
Duck hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. We're right on where we're at's on the Canadian River. We didn't have them this year like we usually do, but last year we swatted them down there a couple times. It was good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I hunt in Kentucky and I live in Florida, so
There you go.
I don't really hunt here.
Hey, at least the weather's nice.
Yeah, and rut's in July or
Yeah, that's
August,
just
whatever
weird,
it
man.
is. Dude, it's so weird.
One of these years,
That's
you
so
gotta go out and actually hunt it, and like we'll document it. I'll come down.
Why?
And film,
So I can
like-
get malaria from all the mosquitoes?
Well, yeah, I just want to see how long
You'd
you'll
be
last.
the one to get it.
You know, like
Yeah, I would be the one to get it. I ain't I'm good, cuz. I'd go fishing. There's no mosquitoes offshore. Hey,
I don't
that
know
was
what's
a nice
worse,
thing.
mosquitoes or the ticks.
oh man.
Oh, we got bad seed ticks at the
Oh,
farm. Ask
man.
Zach.
Oh,
Poor
no.
Zach, dude. He got roasted twice in one day. First, he got like 50 seed ticks on him. Then, like 2 hours later, He ends up standing next to a ground hornet's nest, and he got whapped 2 or 3 times by him, and he's like freaking out. And I'm on the tractor driving right by that nest. I'm like, dude, you got to calm down. He's like, what do you mean? I said, you need to go in the woods and calm down. I'm telling you, they can sense your pheromones because you're freaking out, and it's attracting them to you. And he's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah. And he went over in the woods. He's like, wow, that worked. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I sure wasn't standing
out
there, trying to get my pheromones to calm down there. I was like hightailing it to the woods. But yeah, the ticks on your farm are no joke. It's bad.
Yeah, they're bad here too, man. It always cracks me up. You talk to them people, it's like, oh my God, I got a tick on me. I'm like, man, I took a shower the other day, lifted up my gut and had 10 on my waistline.
Well, those little seed ticks, they can hide, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We got ticks of all sizes here. They're from the itty bitty microscopic ones to the big boys.
Now, hey Joe, let me ask you this. All right, supplemental feed. I don't know if it's legal or not, or does do you make feed like with stuff in it, like you give your dog medicine to help repel ticks? Is that something you can do for?
It is illegal to put medication into wild game feed without a veterinarian's sign off on it. And since we're distributing across the United States, like high fence farms and everything, they can medicate and everything because they probably have a veterinarian on staff and all, but because we're feeding wild game, you cannot put anything like that in there.
Yeah.
The platinum has a vitamin pack in it though, doesn't it? Or
it's got the vitamin pack and the pre and probiotics. Yeah. But as far as like a medicated situation, we can't do it. I would love to put ivermectin in Big Tine, but probably going to get yelled at on that one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits though to the vitamin pack as far as gut health and stuff in you guys' feed though.
Man, at the end of the day, if you're pumping them, and we're not overloading them because too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Like we're not overloading on protein because if you go too high on protein, that can cause urinary tract infections in deer. That leads to stress. Stress leads to smaller antlers. We're always looking at the amount of vitamins we're putting in, the amount of protein we're putting in. But at the end of the day, man, just making them healthier, they go through a bout of EHD. They can get through it. I mean, we're seeing more and more people shoot deer with the signs of coming through EHD. And I truly believe it's because they have that additional supplemental feed and that help to push them through. If they can get over the hump, they can keep on moving past it.
Well, if you think about people, in general, and humans, just like COVID, it always targets, and who has the worst problems is people that aren't in the best health. And you look at that, it's like it doesn't affect, sickness and diseases doesn't affect the healthy people as much as it does the unhealthy people. So it's the same way with deer. It's like the better you can keep those deer, the better shape you can keep them in, the healthier they're going to be, the healthier their fawns are going to be. The longer they're going to live, they're going to be able to, live through a lot of the EHD stuff, from time to time. And then also you're going to grow bigger, healthier, better bucks because of it. So it all kind of correlates together.
Yeah. I mean, I take a multivitamin every day because it doesn't mean I'm not going to get sick at some point, but I'm probably going to get through it a whole lot faster because my body's ready for it.
Yeah.
All right. So I do have to run here in about 10 minutes, boys, because I got softball practice. I live at the ball field in the evenings on weekdays.
Your daughters have softball practice. You do not play softball.
I don't,
Are
but
you
I
like
coach.
the dude that wears the short gym shorts and the knee-high socks with the stripes on the top?
Yeah, man, I go with the good old nut huggers,
Looks like the middle school gym coach out there.
Yeah.
Belly sticking out under the shirt. But let's do some rapid fire questions. Zach, hit him with a couple.
All right, first one. Favorite tree stand snack.
Favorite? What'd you say? Tree stand snack?
Yep.
Well, back before I had the diabetes, I'd have kept little Debbie. I was keeping her in business. But now it's more like the beef jerky stick, man. I got to go the keto way.
Yeah, you and me both, cuz.
Joe.
Give me the meat, man. The Mountain Ops big sticks. I'm a big fan of those these days. Those things are awesome.
Okay. Cool.
Buffalo. Got to go Buffalo.
Okay.
Buffalo,
No,
huh?
Okay.
I froze.
What'd you-
Everyone's frozen.
you might-
Yeah.
Somebody must have froze. I didn't hear anything.
No, I think we all were freezing.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
was
we
just-
all
I was
froze ourselves.
I was intentionally frozen to see who was going to break first.
All I saw was
Like-
Clayton
like
laughing
that-
at his own
that-
joke, and everybody was
that
just
awk-
waiting.
That awkward, that awkward silence. You're like awkward.
Yeah. Shit, I must have missed something.
Oh, that's too funny. I had a question. Now I forgot it because I paused too long. Oh, favorite state to whitetail hunt?
Man, I'd have to say Missouri probably overall, just because it's my home state, and there's nothing like chasing them right here at home.
I love my home state of Indiana. I love being in Oklahoma when we go out there early season with Randy and Nate, but Texas owns me for whitetails. I love it.
I do
South
love some Texas.
Texas is such a special place, like in its own unique way that no other state is like it.
I mean,
Texas is.
I bought my Texas tags for whitetail season, and I've got a whole book, and there's like 4 turkey tags, so I've got to go back next month and fill some tags. I mean,
That's what I was
feel
gonna
like
say.
I'm
That's the cool thing about Texas, man, is it's like everything under the sun you can chase down there.
$300 and kill it all, and for another $1.99 you can trap too. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
You sit there on a deer stand, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, what is that? Oh, it's a wildebeest coming by. He's in season 2.
Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and ask this since Graham's on here. Who's your MLB team?
I got to go with the Braves. Little brother Cody, he had a stint with the Braves. So, and honestly, growing up, the Braves was always my team. Back in the TBS days, I'd kick on a good Braves game about every other day. So I've always been a Braves fan.
I'm from
I feel like
Alabama,
50%
so I
of
was
the
a Braves
hunters are-
fan growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like 50% of the hunters are either Braves fans or Cardinals fans.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'm in a weird place where you're either Cubs, Cardinals, or Reds, and I'm the Braves guy.
You notice he didn't say White Sox.
I did not. They do have a team, don't they? I
Yeah.
forgot.
They do.
Hey, they're moving to Indiana though, so maybe I need to have a
What?
National League and American League. Yeah, they're trying to move him to Gary.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right,
The
Zach, what
Gary
you
White
got?
Sox just doesn't cut it.
I don't know.
That just-
Poor Randy's just spinning right now. All right, you can only pick one to hunt whitetails. You got early season, the rut, late season. What are you going with?
Late season.
Late season.
Yeah.
I like the cold, and they can't deny the food.
Yeah. Have you ever hunted Kentucky opening weekend of bow season?
Nope. Too many ticks.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong there, but man, that one's hard to pass up.
Well, I mean, if you're talking Kentucky, yeah, I mean, you guys get back into the baiting and everything and still get them on the feed pattern, but I like cold temperatures, man. I like hanging my deer for 4 days instead of
Yeah.
running them straight to the processor or cutting them up in the field.
Yeah, and you're drenched in sweat the entire time
Yeah.
you're doing it.
Yeah.
Man, I had a deer one time. I killed him in November, and he fell in the creek, and we couldn't find him because he went in the creek. But it got so cold that night, the creek froze over, and when I drug him out, he was covered in ticks. And as he started warming up and all the ticks started warming up, they started coming back to life. I'm talking hundreds of them. And I'm like, oh, boy, I better field dress this buck as soon as I can because that is a pile of ticks I don't want to mess with.
Yep.
And that was in
I will say,
November.
I killed my buck in Indiana this year. I think it was December 13th. And there's no better feeling in the snow. It was like 15 degrees. When you go to gut him and just reach those hands in there and just instant warmth, man, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. That buck that I shot, that I had to field dress him when he was still frozen, like his insides were firm. That was the easiest time I ever had field dressing a deer. I'll tell you that. I mean, because you know what I mean. You never experienced that, right? Like that's kind of uncommon, and I was like, man, this is really easy. This is great, dude. I wish they were all like this. So, well, I do have to run. I guess
Randy done beat you to the punch, man.
Yeah, he was out of here.
that was an Irish exit.
Irish, I was about to say Irish goodbye.
Well, Joe, we do appreciate your time, buddy.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.